In today's video, I'm going to share with you the 3 simple steps that you need to take to easily create yourself a personal budget and take your first steps to achieve your financial goals. Especially for this video, I created a budget template that you can download for free and start using today. The link is in the description, so make sure you download it and stick to the end of the video where I show you exactly how to use it. Hi everyone, I'm Nevo, and on this channel I help you achieve your goals by gaining financial knowledge and life-changing skills. I have a degree in finance and I've previously worked in venture capital and in the real estate industry. I'm currently working as a management consultant, and I opened this channel in order to help as many people as I can gain financial knowledge and achieve their financial goals. All of us have dreams. I know that I want to travel around the world and discover new places, traditions, and people. You might also want to do that, or maybe you want a new house, a new car, maybe you want to go on a ski vacation or a weekend in the Bahamas. No matter what are your dreams, in order to achieve them, you need to have a plan. And simply put, a budget is your plan to achieving your dreams. In its most basic form, a budget is like a map for your income and for your expenses. It shows you how much you earned, how much you spent, and most importantly, how much you saved. And you can use this map to guide you to your financial goals. Speaking of goals, the first step in creating a budget is to set yourself a goal. Now don't overlook this step because it is super important. Setting yourself a goal is guaranteed to motivate you in your plan and prevent you from giving up. What is the goal that you want to achieve? Take the time to think about it and let me know down in the comments what are you saving for. Now just before we jump into the nuts and bolts of how to build your budget, you should know that there are 2 broad options for how to manage your budget. You can either do it the old-fashioned way on a physical notebook, or you can do it in an Excel file. Now, I really recommend you to keep track of your budget in an Excel file and not in a physical notebook for 2 main reasons. The first one is that it's much easier to fix any mistakes you do in an Excel file than in a physical notebook where you will have to manually erase it. The second reason is that after getting a few months of data into your budget, you will be able to start to manipulate it and derive insights from it about your spending habits and your income. That is gold for your overall progress, and it will allow you to calibrate your spending going forward. With the help of the budget template I already created for you, link in the description, so make sure you download it, you don't have to have any Excel knowledge at all. No calculations, no formulas, no macros. I did it all for you. All is left for you is to fill in your numbers and see the magic happen. Okay, so after you set yourself a goal, the first real step to create your budget is to map your financials. Here, you will rely on your past income and expenses to get a first look at your financial progress over time. It will also allow you to get a sense of your starting position. For income, you should write down your monthly salary and any other income streams you had, like real estate, side hustles, or anything else. If you are a freelancer, you should list your profits from your businesses, plus any other income streams you had. For expenses, you want to get your last 3 months' expenses straight out of your credit card. To that, add any mortgage payments or loan repayments you might have, and if you had any cash expenses, list those too. It is super important that you make sure you cover all of your expenses in this step and don't forget any, because if you forget any expenses at this step, it will hurt your savings down the road. Now, what you need to do is to bucket those expenses into different categories, like housing, groceries, transportation, and so on. Then you can sum all of them up and have the total for each category. By the way, the Excel budget that I made for you already has all of those categories inside, so make sure you download it and save yourself time. At this point, you should have a list for your income and a list for your expenses for each of the last 3 months. By taking the difference between them, you can see if you have a positive or a negative cash flow. In other words, do you end each month with more or less money in the bank? For example, let's say that you earn $4,000 working full-time. And let's say that you sum your expenses and you see that they total $3,500. Taking the $3,500 off of the $4,000, you can see that you have a positive cash flow of $500 every month. Those $500 can go straight to your savings, and that's great. If in the same example you sum up your expenses and you see that they total $4,500 a month, then taking the $4,500 off of the $4,000, you see that you have a negative cash flow of $500. Now this is not a sustainable position because basically you're running out of money with each passing month. Now give yourself a huge thumbs up because already by doing this simple step, you've made a huge progress to achieve your financial goals. You've just built the foundations for your savings journey. It's less important if you're in the red or if you have a positive cash flow at this point, because now you know where you stand, and in order to increase your savings, all you need to do is to tweak your budget. This leads me right into the second step of creating your budget: optimizing your expenses and income. Let's start with optimizing your expenses. Basically, the less you spend, the more that ends up in your bank account at the end of the month. So let's focus on how you can reduce your expenses. The simplest way to do it is by taking the list of expense categories you've already made and split it into essentials and non-essentials. Essentials expenses would be anything that you have to spend in order to get through the month. This can be anything like mortgage payments, utilities, and taxes. The non-essential list is going to have all of the other expenses you did not mark as essential. This would be things like eating out, going to the movies, or buying random things online. Now that you've marked your essentials and non-essentials expenses, go ahead and look carefully at the non-essential list. Which of those expenses do you feel comfortable cutting out? Now think deeply about this one, because every dollar that you save here is another dollar that goes into your savings. Go over item by item and really think if that thing adds value to your life and if it's worth spending on. If not, simply cross it out and commit to yourself to not make that expense in the future. After doing this, you should end up with your plan of how much you're going to spend on each category and also what's going to be your total spend for the month. Congratulations, you've just optimized your expenses and you now have a plan for your future spending. To keep track of your expenses during the month and to make sure you don't go above your spending limit, you can use apps like Mint, YNAB, or Empower. Or if you don't want to be too fancy, you can just use your phone's notes. So that's that for expenses optimizations. The next step to complete your budget is to optimize your income. Just like with expenses, every extra dollar that you make here is another dollar that will shorten your path toward your financial goals. Broadly speaking, you have two options to optimize your income. You can either take on more work as a salary employee, or you can create your own businesses. Anything from working in the gig economy to making income through affiliate marketing, content creation, and brand development can boost your income and increase your savings. Being the tougher nut to crack, it's okay if you take the time to learn and understand how you can do it. If you like this video so far and you want to get more content like this with real value that gets you one step closer to your financial goals, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future uploads. Now that you have a working plan of how much and on what you're going to spend, you are ready to go out there and start conquering your goals. Also, that leads me right into the third step of creating your budget, which is keeping track of your progress. What you'd want to do at the end of each month is to have a monthly overview where you take the time to go over all of your spending, insert them into your budget, and see if you met your spending goals for each category. Hopefully, you've managed to stick to your plan and spend according to your decisions. But if not, the budget will show you just how much you overspent in each category. That way, you would be able to pinpoint exactly what went wrong. And more importantly, once you know what went wrong, you can make sure you don't do that same mistake the next month. Now, the tracking part is a rinse and repeat process that you do at the end of each month. And it allows you to see your progress over time and also to tweak your budget according to your goals. month by month, you will see that you meet your goals and that those savings start to pile up. That's amazing, and you totally deserve it because you worked hard to make it happen. Now, the big moment has arrived. Let's jump straight into the budget I made for you, and I'll give you an overview of exactly how to use it. Okay, so when you first open the Excel budget, this is what you'll see. Now I'm going to do two things. First, I'm going to explain you the overall structure of the budget so you understand how it works. And then I'm going to show you how you can customize it to your specific income and expenses and fill in the data. First of all, you can see that you have the months colored in this light blue. So you can see here it says January 2023. And you can see that for January, you have three columns. You have the total monthly income in green, the total monthly expenses in red, and the total monthly savings in yellow. Now basically, the total monthly income column is made up of all of these income streams. And the same is true for the total monthly expenses. This number is made out of all of your expenses in those different categories. You can see that you have categories like housing, transportation, taxes, utilities, and so on. And the total monthly savings is basically your total income minus your total expenses. And you can also see that you have the same structure for each month of the year. So this one is for January, but if you scroll down, you can see that you have it for February, for March, April, and so on and so on. And if you scroll all the way down, you will get to December, which is the last month of the year. Now a quick tip here is that if you want to use this budget after 2023, it's no problem. All you have to do is to go to this cell here where it says 2023 and change it to, let's say, 2024. Once you do that, you will see that the entire budget is updated to be 2024. So January is now 2024, February also, and so on. So if you want to use it for the next year as well, simply create a new copy and change the year. So now that I showed you the structure of the budget and how it's built, I'm going to show you how to personalize it for your specific income and expenses. So to make it as simple as possible, I've color-coded the cells that you need to change. You see that there are cells that have a light gray feeling? Those are the cells that you need to change in order to operate the budget. So let's start with your income. As you can see, you have 5 income streams listed on the left. Now only for January, you can see that those cells are marked in this light gray, meaning you can change them. And the same is true for those 4 expense categories in the monthly expenses. So because different people have different needs, you will probably have your own specific expense categories that you'd want to have in your budget. And exactly for that, I've made those 4 expense categories changeable. So now let's make an example of how to fill the budget. I'm going to use dummy numbers, but of course that you need to use the actual numbers of your income and expense of the month. So let's say that I have a full-time job and I also drive an Uber and sell some stuff on Etsy and eBay. Then I'd want to personalize my income streams. So what I'll do is go to the first income stream and change it from income stream number 1 to monthly salary. Now I'll also change the second stream to Uber, the third to Etsy, and the fourth to eBay. Now if I don't have a 5th income stream, it's okay. I can just delete it and it won't affect the rest of the budget. Now let's do the same for the expenses. Let's say that I travel a lot and I want to have a travel expense category. So I'll change the personal expense category number 1 into travel. And let's also say that I have pets and I go to university. And let's say that I also donate to charity every month and I want to have it as an expense. So now that I've added all of my expense categories and the income categories, you can see that they have also changed in the other months. So for February, we have the same income and expense categories as we wrote down in January. Now just be aware that you can customize your income and expense spatial categories only in January and it will reflect in all of the other months. So make sure you do it upfront one time and then leave them as is. Okay, so now let's fill in some dummy numbers for the income and expense and see how the budget works. So let's say that in January I've made $3,500 working full time and I've also made $600 off of Uber and $200 off of Etsy and eBay. As you can see when you write it down, the budget automatically calculates for you the total monthly income. Now I'll do the same thing real quick for the expenses and we'll see what we get. Okay, so I quickly filled the monthly expenses and I obviously used dummy numbers and you should use your actual figures. But as you can see, the total monthly expense sums up to $3,400 and the total monthly saving is $1,100. Now obviously the savings are just the income minus the expenses. So I did this for the first month and you should do it also. Now I'll quickly fill the other months so you can see how the budget looks like when it's full. Okay, so I finished filling up the entire budget and as you can see, for each month there is the income, the expenses and the total monthly savings all the way down to December. So now let's say that I want to know what is my total expense for all of the months combined and not just for each specific month. Well, especially for that, I've made a summary tab. As you can see at the bottom of the file, right next to the budget, you have a summary tab. If you click it, you can see that you have basically the same structure of income, expense and savings, but this one aggregates all of the data from the previous budget tab. So you can see that in this fictionary year, for the entire year, I've made $57,000 in income, almost $42,000 in expenses, and my total savings for the year were $15,000. So basically, you can use this summary tab whenever you want to see the aggregated data for a couple of months. Now, you don't have to have the entire year filled. You can also do it if you only have 2 or 3 months of data. So this is basically how you should use this budget to track your income, expenses and savings throughout the year and make sure that you stick to your plan. And now let's jump back to the video. Alright guys, so I hope you found this video super useful up until now. If you have any question about budgeting in general or about the template that I made for you, feel free to post it down in the comments and I'll do my best to answer all of you. Now, having a budget won't help you if you don't have decent income. And especially for that, I've made an amazing video about the 7 side hustles you can start today with no knowledge needed to boost your income. So make sure you watch that video right now.